pocket of the jeans to the pitcher and show my numbers to the pitcher. And again, we still want our head on. If you ever have a guy that's struggling with this, like over-rotating too much, and I'll go through these in the drills, we can put 45-degree closed, or I could come in here, you buy an eye patch at Walgreens, you can put it over their eye, they definitely will square them right up, they'll be good to go. So if you ever run into that problem, because sometimes they will over-rotate. But what we want is we want to sit in that hip, and now I'm in a position to throw or to rotate. Either way, hit, pitch, whatever you want, but now I'm hinged in a position to rotate. Not a position to deadlift, but a position right here to rotate, and that's what we want. So when you do this, when I load in that hip, you'll see my outside back knee almost goes out. If you have a problem with that, you can do a cheat code, and now I can push this back foot out. And automatically when I load in that hip, sit in that back hip, it's almost like another key you can use is you want to load around the back hip. That way, if I'm on a scale, y'all have done it before, I can push on one side and get more weight into the scale for a certain period of time. And that's what we want. Because if I'm doing this, it's going to end up doing that. And that's what we don't want. So once I get into this position and I go forward, I'm going forward, but I'm still maintaining pressure back in the back foot. Now the reason we want that knee going out is because now I have adjustability. I can look fastball and be on it, but if I get that off speed, I can still hold my hands back and go. When you start getting here and that knee's already gone, the hips are going to start going, we're going to start leaking, and then everything starts to get unraveled, which we don't want.
Coach, you lost your signal on the TV. There,
All right, so the stride phase is basically we want to move forward in a controlled manner, weight on the back foot still. We want to move forward and still have pressure on the back foot. We call it a corkscrew effect with our pitching and with our hitters, really. But one thing you can think of is when you hit right, or when you get in, it's almost like you're turning this back leg into the ground when you corkscrew in. And I'll show you a good layover of pitching and hitting. So here's the points we're going to look for. So once I sit into the hip right here, I'm loaded, and now I go into my forward movement. That's when I go to separation. So our cue with our separation is we always want our hands, or we want the butt of the bat pointed at the catcher's feet. That puts the bat in a 45-degree motion or angle, and it's going to split the helmet every time. So when you get in just a base, they can get an athletic base. If they don't know what that is, tell them to jump up and guard somebody in basketball. Or if you're a football player, get ready to hit. You're going to be an athletic base. So I can stand any which way, but once I sit here and I load, hands don't go, now the hands go. Now the next key you want to look for is the hands have to be even or behind this back elbow. If they're in front, you're going to get this motion on the first 3 clicks of the swing. 1, 2, 3. And now my path is going to be, I'm going to very steeply try to get on path, but I'm going to swing down. So think of it this way. You got a Ferrari from home to first, 0 to 60. I can get there in 3.7 seconds. But if I want to get 200 miles an hour, I've got to have a lot more distance. So it's the same concept with the swing. If we want to get fully, it's like a swing set too. It goes up, and as it starts coming down, it's not the fastest point, but as it starts to go, then it explodes. And then it slows down. Same concept. I get here, even or behind the back elbow, hands over the foot, knob to the catcher's feet. You'll get a lot of guys that want to go here, and now in the corner of their peripheral vision, they're going to see bat. First 3 clicks of the swing, 1, 2, 3. Now the bat head's stuck. Because what we want is when we get in that power position right here, first 3 clicks, 1, 2, 3, that bat's moving. So we basically want that Nike check here. Make sense? When we land, we want to be 50-50. We don't want to be here, because now what happens is I'm going to be a spinner. And that's all I'm going to do. So I'm going to get here, I'm going to load in that back hip, spread, I'm 50-50, now I'm athletic, now I can turn it on, let it eat. I'd really like for y'all to get on the wall and feel this, because you have to feel it. Because one of our cues when we get into the launch position is we want to get on the wall. So I want to get here. So now I'm on the wall, and now when I start my swing, I've got a slot created right here for my hands to travel through. If I get in this position where y'all can see, get in my stride position, all right, now I start, and I've got this area right here for my bat to travel through. If I come off the wall, here, my butt's on the wall, now I come off, my path is going to be here. And you are in a small zone. I'm on path of the zone for that far. If I stay in my hinge, on the plane, you see how big that is. That's the key. And as you can see, especially in this picture right here, is once he lands, it's nose over nuts. All you're trying to do, pitch and hitting, is you are trying to move sideways, forward, sideways. Once his front foot hits, that's the brakes. Everything stops. All forward movement stops in pitching. All forward motion stops in hitting. Nose over nuts, and all we do is rotate. This just shows the band, and you can do this with a Jaeger band. If y'all have a Jaeger band, I step on one side, pull it apart, and I'm going to stretch it out to the hands, and I'll have a 45-degree angle, somewhere in that range. If I do, I'm going to be on path. It's just like we talked about. If I'm not stretched, then I'm going to be swinging down every time. What we talked about, launch position, is you can go back and say they didn't do this back in the old days, but you'll see Mantle there. When you see pictures of Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, everybody is in the same exact position every single time. Hands over back foot, hands even behind the back elbow, 50-50 landing position. Some guys will get here with their front foot. If they do, that's okay. Because if you start putting them through a body screening, where they have, different guys are going to have different mobility and mobility issues than other guys. Perfect world, I'm striding here, both toes are pointed. But if they have to open up to be able to get their hips through and everything, that's fine. Just as long as they're not cheating with their hips. And again, nose over nuts on all those. Bats at a 45-degree angle and pointed at the back foot of the catcher. And I've got a good overlay I'm going to talk about a couple points too. First thing is, once he does get in this position right here, things to look at, you want a 12-degree slope right here, just a slight degree slope with the shoulders. You start getting this, you're going to see barrel dumps. So it's right here. The other thing you'll see in this overlay, right here, is on this guy, when he lands, he's going to be in the same position. When he gets to contact, that rod is still going to be going down through his body. All the way through extension, all the way through. He's going to maintain that rod. You want to stay on the wall. Here's a good slide of shoulders mirroring the hips. That's why we don't want to be displaced with, I don't get around this back hip and I just move the upper body. Now my shoulders are squared, my hips are open. So when I start my swing, the hips are going to come more open and my shoulders are going to stay back. Have you ever seen someone teach hip-shoulder separation? Basically what that is a lot of people, well, I'll say there are some, not a lot, that teach hip shoulder. So what their theory is with this is once I land, I get this open, and it's like a rubber band where everything, since this starts opening, it will slingshot this through. We don't want that. We want everything sequenced together. And I'll get into the science behind that here in a minute. This is the overlay I was talking about with pitching. It almost mirrors everything identical. Here's what we were talking about by being in the hinge position and the swing. Nothing's changed with that. He's staying on the ball, maintaining throughout his swing. All right, now we'll get into we've started the swing into contact. So once I get into my power position right here and I start my swing, I want to take the knob to the pitcher, not knob to ball. So all I want to do is that's our verbiage, is turn the barrel. So we're going to turn the barrel here, and as I start, I want a tight shaft to shoulder. You've seen those guys, when they get here, they start to turn, I'm already dumped. All right, I'm out, and now watch my path, it's going to be across. So if I maintain a tight shaft to shoulder, I start turning the barrel, boom, knob to pitcher, hands above ball. I'm in my bat lag position here, and you don't have to remember this, but now once I get here, I release the wrists, boom, I'm making contact. You'll see a lot of guys making contact out here. We don't want that. If I put a band on this arm and this arm on my elbows, and I turn the barrel, notice I'm not getting much, I'm not losing separation between the two. I'm just turning the barrel here, and then when I make contact, you have we call this the power V's. V here, and now I can put a basketball or a big circle in between their arms. As you can see on Pujols, he's in the power V position. This is where I am strong. I make contact. Now once I make contact, it's like you can use this cue with the players. It's almost like I have a ball stuck on my bat and I'm going to throw it off. Or you can chase the ball. Either or. You've heard the saying where you hit one ball, hit one more ball. All the same things. This is a lot of old school with a lot of new school stuff. Another cue is we want to hit behind the baseball. When you hear that, all that means is you want to be hitting it out front, not deep in your stance. Of course, that will change some with positioning. Now, bracing. I use this because you hear people talk about chopping trees, and I do believe that, but I'm not talking about chopping trees down. I'm saying if a tree was right here level, I want to chop it just like that. Boom, turn the barrel, whip it. Now when you hit something, you want to brace. If you've ever watched, and two other things, sorry if I jump around, my mind races. Figure skating. When they want to go fast and they're in their turns, their hands are tight. When they want to slow down in the turns, the hands go away from the body. Bruce Lee with martial arts. Loose is fast, tight is slow. So that goes back in the heartbeat rhythm. We don't want to play the flute, but we want to be loose. Now once we bring it, two ways you could call it. You could be flexing on the baseball, which sounds really cool. Kids probably remember that. Or you can say brace. Whole concept of that is when we hit the ball and we strike the ball, we want to get firm with our bodies. Two examples. I can throw a ball against the net, and it's going to die. I can throw a ball against that brick wall, and it's going to shoot off. Same concept. You watch tennis every time. Right there in grunt. So if I get, I'll do that later. It's a bracing drill. So once you brace, you're chopping wood, everybody's felt it. You're getting tight, you're getting firm, and that ball's exploding off your bat. All right, with this just shows the different spots of contact with the ball. We always say we want to hit the lick. You can do it two ways. This is probably easier, or you can teach the lick. So basically, this is the seams of your ball. You're going to divide it in three halves. Okay? And I'm going to reframe for a minute. I'll show you. The best way to put a ball on the tee is going to be horseshoes going up, like that. Reason for that, if you number these, this inner seam is going to be 1, the middle will be 2, and this outer seam will be 3. Everybody understand what I'm talking about? 3s are evil. The only time you want to hit a 3 is if you're in a hit and run. That's the only time. If I hit the 1 is optimal part. I'm inside the baseball. If I swing and miss and I hit a 2, that's perfect. But if we tell them to swing at 2s and they miss and they hit 3s, that's why we always aim 1. Well, we've gone to, we still put the balls like this on our tees, but we say the lip, lower inner quadrant. Sounds cooler, I guess, but it's, if you hit the ball right dead center in the middle, that's when you get that knuckling effect. That's when you'll hit the ball the hardest exit velocity off the bat, which is fine, because the whole thing is you want to get up there and you want to hit it hard. But if you want the distance, you want to hit the lick, lower inner quadrant. That way you'll get the true backspin, you'll get the carry. You won't quite get the exit velo, but you'll still be up there. And again, going back, it just shows, this picture shows how the shoulder plane is going to match the back plane identically every time. Another example of hitting behind the baseball, power B's. And when we do start the swing, we always want to look high in the zone. So when I go to stride, I'm looking high in the zone so I can hit it. Now if it's low, I can adjust my hinge position and I can go down and get it shoulders over toes. If I look low, y'all been there, and I try to adjust high, you ain't gonna do it. So always, when you land in your hinge, but always land high pitch zone in the strike zone. Never low. And that's what that example was, just with that one picture. I'm a pitcher person, that's how I learn. That's another example of someone dumping the barrel. That barrel's disconnected from their body and it's just dragging. Again, his hips, as you can see, are behind, his hips have already started and his shoulders haven't. He's not moving the middle, is what our terminology would be. Once we get to extension, we want to get where we're pointing our bat at the pitcher. If it's outside, it's going to be to the right side of the mound, middle to the mound, and then inside to the left of the mound, every time. After that, I don't care. You'll see some guys finish their swing, some guys stop their swing. All are good, all have their place. What I don't like is when guys start finishing low, you know you have issues. And basically with this, I can sit there and put guys in videos and I can say, okay, you're over, your hips are going early, you're dragging your bat, your head's coming out, you're coming off the wall. So I've just named like 8 things the guy's done. Everything runs downstream. Start at the beginning and it will usually tell you what's going on at the end. And all those things, you just make one adjustment that he's doing and it will clean up everything. Same thing with pitching. He's losing either balance or he's losing connection. If you ever want to do this, this is a good way to make sure he's hitting in a big plane. That's what we were talking about earlier. The pitch is always going to come on a 7-degree slope. You can, once you see where the ball is, you can draw a line. If you have one of those apps, to the catcher's mitt, reverse the swing. If you ever want to put a guy, here's another little cool thing. If you ever want to put a guy on video, put red duct tape on the end of his bat, and you'll be able to see the end of his bat swinging through the camera angles a lot better. But just put dots every point on the camera, because it'll get blurred, but every point throughout the swing, and then go back to the line and draw that line, which will be that loop, and you'll see when he's on plane, and if he's swinging down, or if he's got it good.
Where on the bat are you putting that? Around
At the very end.
Okay.
Another good thing to do with kids is to put a piece, tape your barrel, not on a good bat, but on a so-so bat, and then put an X right here. It just gives them, because there's different ways. There's internal cues, which I could say, you got to turn your hips more, you got to pull your hands, all these mechanical things we're thinking inside. Or I can say, all right, I'm going to give an external cue, drive the ball to the back right side of the net. Or hit a home run over the scoreboard in right field. A lot easier adjustments. You'll see the body just naturally self-adjust, and it will do what you want it to do. A lot better cues. You can give constraints. So we're really big in constraints. So I can get, it might not be hinging enough. This is more of an advanced drill, but it's just something I can do real quick. He's coming out of his hinge, so I can put him on this box and say, okay, now hit this front toss for me. Well, he's not going to be able to come off, or he's going to fall off this crate. He's naturally going to stay in his hinge, and he's going to swing through to stay on that crate. That's just a constraint. You can do it with anything. You can put a little beach ball in between his arms. That way, if he's casting out, he can hold on to that ball the whole time and just whip that barrel through. Different types of constraints. You could come up with thousands of them. And there's no right or wrong. Everything works, everything sucks. So if it doesn't work, throw it away. Use it for somebody else. I don't swing down, but if you come to a practice with one guy, I might tell him to swing down. Because with his mind and how he moves, it might work. And I would say, tell him, don't tell anybody I've ever told you that, but it works. If it works, it works. Another thing too is don't do one drill a lot, because you might do flamingos where I'm here just to get reciprocal in my swing, but that can, if I do it over and over and over and over, it can create bad habits. So you want to sprinkle them in and do, but don't overdo. And again, you could do it a couple times a week. That's not what I'm saying, but if you just nonstop, that's all you do, then it can create problems. Like, for example, if I get on and do a wall drill, one of those old where I put the knob right here, and all I do is do this every day for hundreds and hundreds of swings, eventually I'm going to get where I start cheating and I start pulling off. That's a good example. Those are the mechanics in a nutshell. I tried to be simple with it. That gives you an example of the Nike check in the swing that we're talking about. To be efficient, our verbiage with taking balls is seeing it. So I'm here, boom, no, boom. I'm watching it all the way to the mitt. That way I can identify the umpire's strike zone, and I can also work on my timing. And then you've got guys that have roles. You have your big boppers. You got your speed guys. Speed guys, you want to be low waist high line drives, ground balls. I mean, it is what it is. Then you got the other guys, you want it in the air because they're slow, but they're strong. Pitch recognition is basically what we do is if you put a flashlight on my head, that's where our eyes want to be in this area. So as the pitcher goes, when he starts coming, all we're going to do is shift our eyes from here to that slot. So we go from flashlight to laser beam. So here's a couple of drills you can do with that. I can get here, and I can go, kids love this. Our players like it too. So I can go here, and I'm going to flash numbers. So I can go here. All right, what number is it? 2. All right, I can go here, and as they get better at it, all right, now I start going faster. Okay, I can go 5s, 2s, 3s, 3. I mix it up however you want. Now, you got fastball changeup, fast, flat form, curve. All right, I don't do changeup, we just do these. So it's either this action or this action. They got to call out what it is. The next thing is going to be our timing. And basically, here's the area you need to look for problems in someone's swing. First thing, going to be approach. Second thing, timing. Third thing is going to be mechanics. And I'm simplifying that. Approach really is going to have a lot to do with what kind of pitches you're swinging at. If you're swinging at shitty pitches, then you ain't going to be very good. It doesn't have to always do with mechanics. It just doesn't. And that's what a lot of kids think. They'll come up to it, am I doing this? No, you're just swinging one at a lot of balls, you're chasing a lot of pitches, or you're making contact out here instead of up here, so your timing's off. Once they get their timing down, cleans everything up, and now they're rolling again. So here's what we do with timings. Click, clack. And I would make them click, clack themselves to death. So if I'm front tossing, click, clack. So pitching wise, it's going to be when the hands break, click. On the click, that's when I load into the hit. When I go click, click, clack, click, clack. When the pitcher goes forward, I go forward. Really, but it works. And you watch, and I've got videos and videos, if you don't believe it, watch Major Leagues. Now, let's say you got a just flamethrower, and he's throwing gas. All you got to do is work off the click, clack. So now I'm going to go click, clack. And I just change it where I'm starting earlier. If I've got a really slow pitcher, click, clack, and just change it that way. But to be safe and sound, you're always click, clack. And it's kind of rhymes, so that's why we use that. Kind of like the Under Armour commercials. If you ever got guys on video, when the ball hits the edge of the dirt right there, the swing should be beginning. If you ever have them on video. If they're not, they're late. Timing issues. So that's a good thing. Guy on the hole is always working, getting his timing, working his click-clack. What we do, and this will be hard. Well, it might be easier because y'all have the coaches. But we have guy on deck is click-clacking. This is kind of in our sports site stuff. He's click-clacking, working his timing, thinking about what he might be called on to do. The guy in the hole is sitting in a chair right here, not talking to anybody. And all he's doing is he's sitting here visualizing himself and what he's going to do. And then you can have the guy outside the hole working right here. He's not swinging, but all he's doing is click-clack, working his timing too. So, good little thing to do in the dugout. You can have external cues as like, make sure everything you do, you're hitting up over the L screen, another external cue. Or hitting this hole right here in the L screen. You can put hula hoops up in the cages and tell them to hit it, target practice. That's another good thing. Hit by pitch quickly. All I want to do is I want to tuck, tuck, and roll. You need to really pound free 90s. This is our plate. We are not going to move. We never move. One thing we do allow them to use is one of those elbow things and foot thing, but we take pride in it. So, plans at the plate, is very, these plans go all the way up through colleges. So they sound simple, but they are. Basically, we have 7 pitch zones. So on those 7, if you're facing a good pitcher, it is impossible to cover all 7 zones. It is. Barry Bonds could not cover all 7 zones. He hunted a certain area. So if you're hunting a certain area, you're going to be able to cover 4 balls or 11 inches. So basically with righties, we'll put this down. But we are always trying to look in our approaches middle. All right, so we're trying to stay right in this range right here. Because unless that pitcher is just a major league stat, pitchers are going to miss their zones, even in the major leagues, numerous times throughout the game. Maddox, all those guys. But they're small misses. If you have a good pitcher on the mound, he's going to throw 1 great pitch, 2 average pitches, 1 bad pitch, and 2 poor pitches all the time. So you're going to get that pitch if you're looking middle. So if we have 0 strikes, we call it our damage count. I'm trying to drive the ball from the right center gap all the way to the left field foul line if I'm a right-hander, and vice versa for the left. I'm trying to do damage in these counts. If I'm in a 1 strike count, I'm looking everything middle. If I am in a 2 strike count, I'm trying to think, and I'm a right-handed hitter right here, I'm trying to take everything down the right field line. Here's the reasoning for that. If I'm trying to be late on the fastball, and I get fooled, how much of the field do I have to work with? A lot. If I'm trying to hit that ball in left center field, imagine that line drawn right there, and I'm fooled. Now, how much area of the field do I have to work with? Not much at all. I have a small area, and those are the guys that are going to hit balls foul because they're not staying true to their plan. So that's why with one strike, we're looking middle. If we're fooled on the off-speed pitch, I can still drive it to left field. Or if I'm late, I can still drive it to right field. Simple as that. And that's why with no strikes, I'm looking hunting fastball, and I'm just going to piss on. Now, you can see right here, we're covering more of the full 7 zones. But what I want to do is I want to try to get blown up. So I'm late. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to get my stride position right here. I'm going to get my hands just normal, and I want a B swing. And you can say the B swing is the team swing. Your A swing is your swing, my swing, as a hitter. You do whatever you want, as long as you're an A, unless I call something. When I call hit and run, then by God, you better be using B swing. B swing is the team swing, so it shouldn't be any drop and drives, just trying to yoke one. It should be here, just 75%, bam, right there. Just a controlled swing to make contact. So 2-strike approach, I'm here, spread out, no stride. All I'm going to do is I'm going to load around that hip, boom, swing right there in my B swing. But I'm going to be late. Okay, those fastball, fouled off. Those fastball, fouled. Those off speed, boom, fouled off. So say I was 0-2, now I get 3 pitches right there. I'm at 5 pitches. If I get, I would say with ours is 8 pitches. If I get 8 pitches or more, I get a quality at bat. Because our rule is, in our offensive philosophy, if I can get the pitcher at 16 pitches or more, the law percentages show that I've got a chance for a big inning, 3 or more runs. It's undefeated. So if I get up there and I foul a couple off, or boom, I'm seeing it, no, take it. Now all of a sudden I get, let's say, almost, if I get 6 or 7 pitches, that's a quality at bat for this age. Now, even if I swing and miss, hey, team's picking me up because I've got that guy up now in pitch count. Pitcher only has so many bullets. Once you get to their pin, you know you're not seeing the stronger pitchers. And again, we're even though we're still on middle for the damage count, for damage approach, or 1-strike approach, we're still middle because he will miss middle. He will. If you get a really good pitcher and he's painting 3-2-1 right there every time, make an adjustment. You can do this in PP. It's BP adjustment. You'll get guys that sit right here. I'm comfortable right here, coach. Well, get them uncomfortable, move them up in the box. Move them back in the box with a flamethrower. Move them up. Now I'm taking that outside guy away, and now I've made everything middle, so I can go back to my middle approach. If he's busting me in all the time, I can back off. Maybe he throws me out, I can strike. There's all kinds of adjustments.
Had you rather see a batter? One thing we run into last year, we had a pitcher throwing real hard. Did you rather see a batter back up and adjust, or did you rather see a batter change to a lighter bat?
I back him up in the K or in the box. That's why you see a lot of guys get in. The first thing they do is they rub that back line out so they can cheat and back up. I back up as far as the umpire.
We were trying to get them back up and it wasn't working, so I took them, everybody, and gave them a little smaller bat. And they started knocking the piss out of it. Just because he was throwing hard, they couldn't get around on him. By the 3rd inning, I said, everybody drop a size weight and bat, and all of a sudden, wham.
Here's another good example. I had a guy one time, he was 6'4", 310 pounds, and anytime the other team came early, I would make sure he hit BP while they were there. He would hit bombs 415. He would put on shows. He just, woo! Bat speed. He probably had 89 mile an hour bat speed. What's the average bat speed for Major League Baseball? Let's say Mike Trout. What's the average bat speed? It's like 90 or something like that. 74.5. So what the most important thing in the swing, and this is why I brought this up, the most important thing is bat quickness. Because when that same dude was facing 75, his ass was in the lineup because he dropped tanks. But if a guy was throwing 82 or above, whew, he looked pretty, but he couldn't touch it. Because he was so, and think about this. If I wanted to create force in a bag, I could run up, bam! I could generate a shit ton of force into it. But at Mike Tyson, bam, and you were sleeping for a week. So here to here, he's generating force. That's the force. We want it quick and tight. Our verbiage with this is we have very small windows of time and space. You almost want to hit, they don't know what a phone booth is, but you could say a door well. We want to rotate in that door well, tight, because we have small windows of tight time and space to hit that, to compress the cork or strike the baseball. But that's what he never would shorten up. So a lot of times you can get guys and tell them, all right, we're going to hit 60% today. And you'll see them in there and they're going to clean everything up because they're not swinging. They're not trying to just pull everything into that punch. They're shortening up, and then they're going to start seeing balls fly off their bat. Now go to 75%. All right, now let's try to go to 90. We always want to stay at 90 with our A swings or below. We never want to, because it's like my golf swing. If I get up there and I'm 100, it's going all over the place. Very easy way to make that, well, they probably don't understand the golf part. And then if you get a guy that's mixing a lot of pitches with single rhythm or split rhythm. Now a single rhythm guy, we're keying on one pitch and that's all we're hunting. A guy that has control of the breaking ball will do split rhythm. Now we got to adjust. If you look to take the fastball to right center field every time, it goes back to that philosophy. If you get early, you can still drive it. So that's the only adjustment you make that right there and you're in pretty good shape. All right, so I'm going to quit talking about mechanics. I will talk about bunting real quick since I've got a visual right here. Basically, you want to bunt the ball on the last 6 inches of the barrel. You can tape that with an old bat. I do 2 ways. I either hold the bat just like that, right there for control, and I usually, this is kid's bat, but usually it's right here where the logo is of the bat. That's the balance point. The other way I can hold it is just like that. And you'll see guys hold it like this, but they're not going to have control, and a lot of them hold it down here, and it's just going to fall right off. But if you hold it on the logo, you're going to have control. So you can just like a pistol grip, or you can have the 1-finger grip. Never hit them if they're doing it right. Other hand goes in the middle, so what we do is if I'm on the plate, if I'm sacking the third, I drop step here, toe to instep, keep the feet on the ground, show right here, I get down top of the zone. If it's above my hands, pull back. If it's low, I go down and hit it. All right, but just so you know, I was taught this way right here, and then bunt it, because you bunt the top half of the ball. Well, if you watch this, anytime you teach this, they're going to do this or this. That's why we move our body, top of the zone down. We always get our eyes on the same plane as the pitch. We preset our angle, so if I'm going to third, knob's pointed to the first baseman. Here, we never catch, because if I catch, now it's going back to the pitcher. You'll say, a lot of people say, get in front of the box. Well now, if I want to get this pitch where I want it, right down that line, look at my angle. All right, pretty steep. If I hit my normal spot in the box, see how it's not as, so if you bunt it, it's going to be in the fair territory. I don't have to think it's going to be a harder bunt. So we always bunt wherever we get. That way we don't give it away. If I'm going to first base, I do the same thing for righties. Lefties is very easy because you're doing the same thing no matter what bunt you do. Jab step there, you drag, sack, whatever you want. We show sack when the hands come set and pause. That way we can run our slash game off of. If we go drag, it's when the front foot hits. Squeeze, when the front foot hits, point of no return. That's when we tell our runners to go on squeezes. When that front foot hits, we're gone, because you can't make adjustments. The pitcher's already committed, he's gonna throw what he throws. On your sheet, I had, sack, drag, safety squeeze, we bunt it, right-handers, we bunt it on the right side. Fake bunt, when you fake bunt, 'cause you can do a lot of things off of fake bunt, a lot of pitchers will blow up. We're gonna run that thing all the way to the catcher's mitt. Don't hit it, but we're gonna try to block his vision. A lot of times pitchers will piss on themselves, they won't know how to. That's good to do in your bullpens, have guys fake bunts.
We can't
So
slide.
that doesn't have to be off.
So they can square up the ball and then hit the ball. We can't.
Alright, placement. We don't necessarily use this. Or, excuse me, we do use this. We never say fair foul. Whenever you say fair foul, when are they gonna bunt it? Foul. Every time. So, we have a line right here. Especially on our field, that's why we cut it out like this. You have grass. So you're gonna have a 10-foot window right here, and you're gonna divide it in half. This is gonna be your panic zone, this is gonna be your hurry zone. You put it in any one of this window, you're gonna have a good chance for a base hit. You're gonna have a lot more success in the panic zone and the hurry zone. If you notice when we stripe our field, when it was greener, we striped it like this on purpose because it gave the hitters visual marks on where they wanted to put it. But if you make it like this, 25 feet up, well, it's gonna be shorter for y'all. But anywhere in this area, your line will go across. We can put it in this area too, but if we put it in this panic zone and hurry zone, we're fine. So panic zone for drags, anything like that, everything else we're in the hurry zone. Make sense? I can give you a diagram too of that. So the reason we don't pick up our back foot like this is because if the pitch is outside, I can now ride it with my legs. That might be too advanced for these guys, but they can always ride it right here and deaden it. They're not going to lose the rein. That's bunting. All right, now we'll go to our drill work. And this just shows you a good example of eyes behind the ball on this left side. We're getting on the plane with it. The correct way right there at the bottom. They just don't have vision. They lose their vision. I'm going to give you a real quick goal thing for your offensive strategy. It's called base 2. And what your goal is, if you can get all these, great. But this is what we live by. B stands for big inning. So that's 3 or more runs. A stands for answer. So if Tucker's team go out there and they score 5 runs, and my team comes back and we score 2, 1, if we score anything, that's an answer. S, score first. E, extend the lead at any time in the game. 2, score with 2 outs. If you get 3 out of 5, you will win 95% of your games. Automatic. It's undefeated. And you can post that, all right guys, we got the B, 3 out of 5. Or we got the A. We need to get the S right here. It gives them something that they know is kind of like jobs. We got 5 jobs to do every game offensively, and that's what we're trying to do. But our guys know exactly what it stands for and the meaning and how important it is because we talk about it after every game. I've got the stickers through the helmet. All right, so let's go through drills. This kind of talks about what we're trying to do. All right, move the middle. So I can go here. This is just, I mean, y'all want drills? Oh, yeah. Okay. The middle of our body is what we tell all our guys. What starts the swing and does everything. This moves everything. So the middle is right here, right below the hips, all the way up to the shoulders. This is what starts and controls everything in the swing. So if I get here, again, all pitching, hitting, it's all rotational. I don't want to get out here, but I want to make contact right here. That's all it is. Now, when I do this, is anything else on my body moving? Do I start doing this to move? Nope. I'm right here. It's just rotation. That's why we get this so big in the water bags, to create those movement patterns. I put a bunch of guys on this right here.
I'm gonna buy somebody else too.
And I loaded them up with weights. Now, I'm not going to be able to do what they did. I had them doing 3 plates at one time. But I'll do one. I'll do sissy weight. Now, if I'm going to pull this in a rotational, and I don't have it as long, kind of give it a demonstration. Right here, I pull it. Nothing. You don't see that knee diving in the pull. I'm going to pull it just like this. I'm moving the middle. As I'm starting, I'm strong. Again, it goes back to that speed skater. When the hands, when I get, it's called proximal distal as far as the scientific part, but if I get, the farther I get away from my body, the weaker I'm going to be. The tighter I'm going to get to my body, the stronger I'm going to be. That's where faster, slower. So going back to move the middle, shoulders all the way down to the hips. We want everything in sequence. Now you'll say, the body naturally is going to get hip, shoulder, so you will get some. Never teach it, because that's when you're going to get disconnect and you're going to get drag. Okay? Again, we want to move small windows, time and space. You have very few. You have a small window to turn the barrel, and you've got very short amount of time to do it. So middle drills. We've got feet in cement. So I'm going to put the feet in cement, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to get here, and I'm going to swing. The heel can come off the ground, but we don't want spinning. All right? The next one is going to be bat between the feet. So they get one of their bats, they maintain pressure right there. All they're doing, boom, they're hitting. Here's what it's going to look like if I take you to a biomechanics lab and I hook you up with all the buttons and all the gadgets. It's going to be almost like a bell curve. Your hips are going to, your middle's going to start first, your hips, and then it's going to be your torso, and then it's going to be your arms, then it's going to be your wrists. All right, that's going to be the sequence of the swing. Now, if you look at the bottom half, or when you start, the first thing to stop is going to be the hips. The next thing's going to be the waist. The next thing's going to be the arms, and then the wrist, release the wrist, and then the wrist will stop. So with all that being said, is we want that decel. Because if I think about a catapult, primary mover, secondary mover, so that if you know what I'm talking about, it bends. So if this primary mover shoots and never stops, the secondary mover falls on top, right? In order to get the secondary mover to shoot, primary mover stops, and then it propels. See what I'm saying? All right, same thing. We don't want to spin because nothing ever stops. We want to stop the hips, fire the torso, stop the torso, fire the arms stop, fire the wrists, and deliver the barrel. That's why we do not spin. We do two things. We either here and just bring the hips up so we're still anchored in the ground, or we will kick back. And that's that thing you'll see a lot of kids, really young kids, naturally they're going to kick back because that's their body trying to stop. Watch any Major League game. I'm sure you saw Andrew Jones. I used to look at that with my dad. His swing's horrible. He would swing and he'd be right here every time. Watch these guys. They stop their bodies. It's like a whip. Got a bull whip. Bam! Stop. When I stop it, that whip transfers energy all the way down. Bam! And pops. Same thing with the catapulting team. All right, I can do recoil swings. This is a decel move, but all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna swing and I'm gonna pull it back as hard as I can. Sometimes if you have a machine, you'll put in one ball, boom, hit, pull back, and hit that next ball coming right behind it, and you'll see everything clean up because it's a shorter, more compact swing. All right, so I told you about the recoil swings. You got golf backs. I can sit here. All right, the pitcher starts. Let's say it's front toss. He's going to pull back. As he starts to pull back, I'm going to pull back and then swing through. All this does is puts me in my natural hand position. I can either do pointers. Here, he starts, come back. I'm just backwards chaining, and I'm going the same way backwards as I am forwards. Don't have them do this, all right? But have them go back in the same path. They'll get in the right slot, and they'll hit. And you'll trick them into doing what you want to do. So those were golf backs. Arenados. In, out, out. In, out, out. In, out. And I get anchored, boom, swing. It just gets you in the ground. If you ever have a guy falling all over the place, even pitching, energy leak. Right there. Take their shoes off. Don't do it live. But, well, I'm saying live hitting because they might foul one off, but like pitching on a mound or something like that, take their shoes off, but it'll clean them up because they got to get in the ground. A lot of these shoes, especially these running shoes, very bad to hit in. You take the shoes off, you'll watch them get in the ground because you don't get energy from the ground. It's like a guitar, makes sound. But to amplify the sound, to give it more sound, you got to plug it in to the amplifier. To get energy in the ground, or from the ground, you got to put it in the ground. And it'll come back up through you. Okay? Same concept with the amplifier. You got to stay in the ground. Jump swings. That's just basically we're getting in the ground. We jump, boom, boom, or you can just jump in athletic position, load, and swing. All right, we're just trying to get in the ground. And these things are fun for the guys too.
Those jumps right there, is that better to do off of T-work or front toss?
I'd probably say T-work. Now, you can try them. Like I said, all this stuff you can manipulate. You'll come up with your own stuff. I mean, there's thousands. I've got pages and pages of drills. I'm just trying to condense it. You can definitely experiment with these things. But yes, you can do it in front toss. Power position turns. In our swing, we're always trying to pull slack out. So I want to be tight. So if I'm here, and let's say I say get your power, we're going to do power position swings. That means I'm at my launch position. So when I start the swing, I should be clean turned, right? Well, if my hands aren't where they're supposed to be, I might start my swing, but you're going to see the body pull right here so it can pull the slack out to generate force into the ball. So when I say pull the slack out, all right, this is putting slack in the swing. Hips going first. Now I've got slack in here. And now I'm going to body's going to try to create more tightness, and then that's how you get all off. That's why we're trying just to move the middle, all the way down. The power position turns, we get in this, we can even throw up the velocity. It's just real quick. If they're tight, pull tight, boom, they can deliver the head quick. If you see that extra thing, then they're not getting all the way back. So those are just some examples of move the middle. You can always use PVC pipes if you have, or broomsticks. They can do walking turns. So here, just nice and slow, and just gets them in sequence with their body. I can do shuffles with a go call. Go! I get in the ground right here. So I'm working the turn, and I'm working decel. Because we're very big on decel. I can get med balls if you have them. I can get here. You'll see a lot of guys when they throw them. All right, they go this way. Just move the middle like a sack of potatoes. Bam! Right there. Brace all the way around. All right, next one's going to be posture and side bend. I can go split stance, kind of like a lunge. Here, boom, right there, okay? I'm just rotating, but I'm staying in this posture. I can go low and away extreme front toss. So now I have to stay in that bend all the way through every time. Because I can really manipulate that zone down here. T behind the butt, just put a T right behind here. You're gonna come off, I mean, I'm gonna, not necessarily gonna be able to stay on it permanently, but it gives them that external cue that when they do swing, you still wanna see that side bend right here and be somewhat close to the T. And when I get on the wall, in my hinge, I start to get here, I don't want, if I'm a right-hander, I don't want my left butt cheek to scrub the wall. I want my right butt cheek to scrub the wall. And I really would like y'all to do that. Because when I get back in that, rotating around this back hip, notice my knee doesn't come in there. You'll see the golfers, they'll get around that back hip, but that knee doesn't collapse. So same thing, right here, I'm spreading the floor. Arm out, hold my arm out, if you get a little weight, whatever, swing, see where my side bend is. Right here, where I want it to be. A good cue for that is chest over plate, all the time. You can even get a band. You have a little rubber band or an arm band or something, hold it right here. That way it can't come out. It's got to be underneath that. Step backs, small step backs. Just step back, loading that back hip. Boom, right there. We got short backs, probably one of my favorites. All they got to do, choke up, top of their grip. Now if that ball's down in the zone, they have to keep their shoulders over the toes. You can't get away from it. Only time it's going to change, top of the zone, but as I go down, see how the shoulder matches the plane in the back. And a good drill to do is where you put them on the wall, just turn, and it doesn't have to be a lot. You don't want them to turn like this. It's just turn, and just rub that butt cheek across the wall, and you'll see that knee open up. But after a while, at first, they're going to look horrible. You'll come back in about 3 days, 3 or 4 days. And you'll see. All right. Any questions? I'll move the middle for posterior side bend. All right, we'll go to bat path. If a guy's getting too steep with his swing, if this is the plate right here, all we're going to do is get in a line. You can either do this, and I'm going to get 45 open, and now what this will do, don't let them stride. Spread them out. They just turn here, and you'll see that barrel get depth now in the zone. Have them hit everything up the middle. So I'm here, bam, right there. I'll get that depth that I want. I'll get on a big plane. Another way you can do it is basically like angle BP. Just turn the plate that way. Because they'll want to start line cheating this way. But now they have to get here and turn that barrel. Next one is 45-degree close. You can either turn the plate right here, coming in here. So now I have to get that bat head out. But again, I want to hit everything up the middle. So now I'm working on getting depth in my barrel. Now I'm also working I'm getting, it kind of counter rotates. Now I'm working so my barrel doesn't get stuck back here. Now I'm working on getting the barrel out front. So I'm working back side, and then I'm working pull side, and everything's going up the middle. What I do with all my tee work, everything, I'm a firm believer in this. I work everything middle. My mom could come in here and pull a baseball. All right? But elite hitters are gap to gap, middle of the field. If you're hitting middle, you are on time. hitting pulls all the time, you're early all the time. If you're hitting everything backside all the time, then you're late all the time. But again, I know there's times for that, but middle is what we practice all the time. Now we'll do backside stuff, but as far as tee work, we'll mix some deeper stuff in here and there. But majority of the time, even if I'm hitting a pitch backside, I'm still hitting it out front, but just a little bit deeper. All right, bat path 45 open, 45 closed.
Real quick, on that tee work, when you say you work middle a lot with the tee, do you work inside, outside with the tee as well?
Middle. They can go middle. That's the land of milk and honey and extra base hits. So I just tell them. Now, I mean, can there be a day where I put the tee out here if they're having trouble? Yes. I might work a lot if the guy's having, my son has trouble with that full pitch sometimes. He's more middle and he's on backside. And I know backside's important, but I had a player come up one time and all his dad did was his whole life, he just worked backside. Gotta go backside. And when he got up, he couldn't pull up. I mean, he was a lefty, and he was a slap hitter. He wasn't very fast. So you want to be able to deliver the barrel. You don't want that barrel to get stuck back here. You want to deliver the barrel. All right, so we do drop drill. Awesome drill. Get a bucket. Put it right here. That's what we talked about, delivering that Mike Tyson punch quick. Hold the ball right here, go 3, 2, 1, drop it, and they got to hit it. They're in their launch position. Drop it, they got to hit it. Okay? It's pretty good at it, stroking balls. All right? Boom. All right? Boom. All right, so now I'm changing the tempo. They got to be quick. Not strong, quick. And this gives them that constraint, but they got to hit it before they hit the bucket. I would probably use an older bat in case they do, because who knows how much they do that. So. All right, so
You use a 5-gallon bucket when you do that, or something shorter?
yeah,
Like
we can
that
use
crate?
5 gallon. Well, they're taller, so I might go by one of the schools, go to the cafeterias, jump out, grab one, and go.
What he's saying is steal one and then take off really fast.
Go to Blackburn. I don't watch the camera.
We need public crate.
I'm sure convenience.
Pull it, hook us up on milk crate.
I don't. Convenience stores, I think people will give these things away, or I mean, just
If you go there and politely ask them with a gun or something, so be polite about it.
one of my favorites, slash bunt. Don't do anything with the feet. It's not a slash. It's just training. So hands at the bottom, right here. So all I'm going to do, you saw the Japanese team did this as their load. That one Japanese team, every one of them got here, and they loaded here, and that was their load. It will put me around this hip, and it will get me in my natural position. It's called backwards chaining. We'll start our pitchers here, and we'll go, all right, back. All right, then the next spot, we might go in this position. Hands are broken, then we'll throw. Then the next position, hands together, now we'll go down and throw. And then we'll put everything together. I just did everything backwards. Same thing. Make sure they don't drop. They're going the same path as their swing and then swinging through. Very good drill for that path. Point reverse. I did those earlier. Same thing. Split grip. If you got a righty who hits lefty, a lot of times they won't deliver the barrel. All you got to do is this right here. Ty Cobb hit like this. And it will give you a lot more top hand in that swing. That's why those lefties, they're dominant with that bottom hand. This is the guide hand. This is top hand's the power hand. Split them. Never teach this, but you'll get guys and they hit like this. You say, you got to get firm. Get straight legged. A lot of times they'll push up out of the ground. Do this if they're a country boy, tell them to skip a rock. Naturally, they'll get in that spot. Backhand skips the rock, front hand frisbee. We're going to buy about 10 frisbees, and every one drill is just going to be. Because if they go here, that frisbee's going there. You know what them dog catchers are? Excellent drill. Put a ball in there, have a bunch of tennis balls, And you'll see those cats, if they start coming this way, that ball, if they swing too hard, balls go everywhere. But if they're nice, smooth, and efficient, have good pattern straight at the pitcher, they deliver their energy in a straight line, that ball will shoot off every time. Great drill.
What do you think, real quick, your opinion on that one? I forgot what it's called. One of y'all might know, but the one you attach to the bat, and it's got the little
Same exact concept.
Okay.
I think they sell those for like $29, where you can go buy a flip stick for like 12.
Yep, for the stick you're talking about for the dog.
Yep.
And it's getting the same bat stance and everything, just make them throw it straight down there.
You swing as hard as you can at first when it's going to go probably that way. You slow it down and control it, and you'll start flipping it that way. But in the swing, skip a rock. You can even put a ball in their hand right here. Skip this rock. Right here. Get in that slot. This is hitter slot we talked about, that arm naturally. As this, when they get that heel plant, that elbow will come down. Starts coming down because the swing's starting to go. And that heel hits, it's party time. All right, high T works. Everybody knows high T. Get it up here. They've got to turn that barrel, get the hands above. Knee series. This is a good one because it'll work stopping the swing. You're here, you're not going to be able to swing hard. It's just turn that barrel, deliver it, and go. They can let go of the barrel right here, or the bat, one hand. Another good one, and this works side bend as well, is I'm just going to turn right here, front toss or hit off tee. Bam. I'm just going to turn that barrel right there. And then at the end, I'm going to have that side bend. But this works back half, because I've got to be directional, because a lot of times they're going to do this, and they're going to come across, and they're going to pull everything. Naturally, they're going to self-adjust, self-sequence, and everything will start going up the middle. We do a lot of, people that aren't around a lot of hitting, it looks crazy, but it just self-adjusts. It will self-adjust the athlete. So those are 90s. A good dry drill is a praying drill. Get your stride, or you can even load in the hip, separate, now, turn. Even our varsity guys will do this. We'll say, all right, go. I'm not palm up, palm down. I'm here. They'll do it. They don't understand. Turn that barrel. Turn that barrel. You can get a plate. We have 2-lane plates. Turn, 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 right here. Turn, 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 right there. We can get basketballs. Turn, right there. That feel is what we want. All right, staying anchored. Basically, it's a lot like moving the middle. You can do swing checks, hit. All right, I just go straight down into a lunge. If I'm out front, I'm not going to be able to do it. If I'm staying back, I'm definitely not going to be able to do it. I've got to be nose over nuts here, down. All right, I'm going to do that more angle. Holds, I'm real big. This is one of our cage rules. We've got to be able to hold for a 1 count and then go. I'm telling them, even if they're hitting tees, look at the hitting zone. Because they might be stroking balls, but eventually, when they get in the slump, it's going to be because they're pulling off of their head, pulling off of their shoulders, but the head always down. If I'm doing tee work, head's always forward, make it game-like. Then I can go from here to here, deliver the barrel, it's more game-like. Stride stops, stride stop, stride stop, swing, all right? And staying in the ground, making sure we're not doing this number, jumping out of the ground. And then we've got 45 open step backs, love these. 45 open, step, step. Notice I'll get around that hip, step, step, right there. And that gets me in the ground. No shoes, I've talked about that one. Forward move. Sammy Sosa's. Tap, tap. All right, I can go high leg kicks. I call them Dale Strawberries. Here to here. That's just timing things when to get that foot down. But if you do Sammy Sosa's, that tap back, I can load in that hip, and it just gets me that forward motion. You can do PVC pipe step overs. You might have to shorten them up a little bit. All right, boom. I'm getting that forward move. Everything in hitting is just like punching. Everything. If I deliver a punch, I'm not going out here. It's going to be here to get my forward to generate energy, and then I'm going to rotate and deliver the blow. Modified hookup, another good one. I'm going to get right here. You can have them touch or hold, and all I want to do is glide out with pressure in that back foot. Grab a little foam football or something of that nature, put it under their foot or under their back heel or something, and that way they have to maintain pressure in the ground to hold that object. They can even step on a batting glove or something. But just right here, as they go forward, they don't do this. It's hold. I'm going forward, but still stay back. If that makes sense. Walk-ups, all I want to do, step behind, loads me in that back hip, here to here. You can even do Happy Gilmore's. All right, I'm going to turn, boom, right there. That's good for just being athletic. That's not in there. Happy feet, here, starts to go, I can get in the ground, it's another in the ground, forward move. And I talked about high leg kicks. So, I talked about approaches, so I'm going to skip reciprocal. I'm going to come back to that. Bracing, rapid toss. We do 3 sets of 3. So it's going to be boom, boom, boom. All right, relax. All right, ready? Boom, boom, boom. And those guys are going to be here and they're going to, and all you are braced. Tell them that's the feeling you want when you hit every time. And then the other thing to do, our guys hate this, but I tell them to grunt. You don't have to do it in games, but if they just start grunting, it automatically firms everything up. Decel. We talked about pulling the slack out. If you think of a bungee jumper, he jumps off. The most important thing in that bungee jump is the last 10 feet. He pulls the slack out, and then he comes back up. If we get reciprocal, that's like jumping off the same platform, but when he jumps off, it's like raising that platform up about 20 feet. Now he's just going to stop quicker. Reciprocal is a fancy word for something we do naturally. They did studies where they cut the cerebral cord off a cat, put him on a treadmill, and he still walked. It's in your DNA. It's embedded in your body. So if everything, and it's going back to talking about players doing this, and guys are like, well, you got to rotate, get the hips through. It's just like we were talking about by the pulling action. This does not dictate the swing. It's a byproduct of the swing. So I can start, even in my PDC movements, I can start the turn and then the knee can follow. This, to start the swing, I don't need to start the knee. It doesn't start, it's a byproduct. So, what we talk about is being reciprocal. And again, not everybody has to kick back, but they do have to stay anchored in the ground to pull out the slack. So you can go here, right there, or we can get here and you can scissor there. Again, it just pulls the slack out in the swing. Stop everything up. Here's some decel moves to do that. One we've already talked about, recoil swings. Another one's pimp the swings. If I get here, you know how they go back sometimes? It's just nice and slow, but it gets everything going back. Even guys, you're going to say, okay, Bryce Harper spins or rotates his back foot. There's guys that do it. But if you watch, you get 10 of the most elite hitters in pro baseball. I guarantee they're either going to kick back or they're going to be anchored in the ground. Like not Jeremy Springer. Springer for the Blue Jays. He's right here every time. But you find the most 10 elite guys, they're going to do that. Well, then you say, well, you got Bryce Harper, okay? If you watch Bryce Harper in slow motion, he gets here, and then you watch his hips counter-rotate back in slow motion. He'll go forward, but then he counter-rotates back That same principle in the decel. Every time. All right. But you don't want your shoulders to keep going out, everything else with decel. So, all right, decel moves. We've got stops at center field, so it's just, you got to be controlled right there. Right there. We've got recoil, pivot to swing we talked about, trout step overs. You want to clean somebody up, swing after they hit, tell them to step forward, controlled. You watch Trout do that in his home runs, it stops everything and will clean everything up. Sticks. You'll see a lot of guys like Joey Votto. They'll hit and they'll stop right here. It's like they stop their swing halfway. If you see guys like that, those guys, we do practice sticks, but again, it's for each person. Not every guy on our team sticks, but some do. Some are really good. Once they do, all that means is you're staying on the ball longer because you're not rolling over into this position. Because you've got two type of movers. You've got tight movers, Michael Trout, or a Trout, or you've got like a loose mover, like a guy used to be for the Dodgers. He's with the Cubs now. What? Bellinger. Loose mover. Just loose. So those guys got to do a lot of extra stuff and pull the slack out. The tight movers like Trout, I mean, they're like the Vikings. The loose movers are like the belly dancers. You're trying to find ways to pull out slack and deliver force. All right. But sticks is a good thing to practice. All right, going to reciprocal. So you can do, the easiest way to do it is right here. You just swing, and as you swing, you step back. You don't want to step back first and swing. It's just deliver the hands and pull the foot back. It doesn't have to be big. It's just subtle. Some guys still might turn, but they're still kicking back to where it's stopping the hips. It's fine. You'll get guys like the guy for Houston, Hispanic, Altuve. He takes a daddy hack and he takes a huge kickback. Some guys will be bigger than others. I'm not a big fan of that because you don't want to get it. Watch here if I do a kickback. See how that pulls me backwards? Watch for that. It should still be subtle, so I'm still staying here. I'm not coming back off the ball. And this is going to be for the guys that do it naturally. I'm not telling you to teach everybody this. You can dabble with it and see how they do it. So swing, kick back, just straight back. All right, so now we're going to go into our progressions. So first one is going to be 2 feet. I'm going to load up. I'm going to swing right here. Next pitch, I'm going to be 1 foot. Swing, you'll naturally kick back. 2 feet again, boom, kick back. 1 foot, swing, kick back. Just a progression you can do. That is the progression steps. Feet together, flamingos is just going to be 1 foot. Shows you about running shoes, about balance. But I'm going to be here, turn, and when I swing, that foot's going to go back. Feet switch. This is just to get the counter rotation. I'm going to be 45 open. When I swing, I'm going to go to 45 closed. That might be too advanced. And then you can do Justin Turners, where you be a little bit tighter. You just take a little bit longer stride, and as you swing, kick back. And then the last one is progression blends. Do it like this. First one, you swing, step straight back. Second one, at an angle to the back corner of the box. And then the third one, swing and step to the back of the box. That's a little harder, but it just gives them that feel of pulling slack out. We talked about approaches, and the only thing, I do have one more thing with the bunts, and I'll shut up, is when you do show for drag, do not show straight back because you'll lose balance. The back foot needs to go to the back corner of the bag or the box. Now I have better balance, and now I'm in a straight line for first base. That's a big key because you'll lose it there. I know I gave y'all a lot, but these are just the simplest. The biggest thing is we just don't want bug squishers. We don't want this, because this is just, it doesn't pull out slack. It just creates everything to keep going. And when we don't pull out slack and everything going, we drag barrels. When we pull the slack out, so we get really tight and we get everything in sequence together. It's movement together. And I can get in a lot more detail with a lot more examples, but I didn't want to drag it out.
That's all I heard growing up, squish the bug.
Yeah,
That's all I
and
heard.
same here. I grew up doing it. But it's when you start pulling that slack out, you'll feel tighter, more powerful. We'll get guys. We'll start bracing. We'll start being reciprocal with those moves, and then you'll start seeing our exit velocity climb. Like at first we're at 70 miles an hour. One guy gets at 80, and they're like, "Damn, he's at 80." And all of a sudden now we got guys hitting 90, 97, 95. And it's just getting things to move together in sequence in tight, small windows of time and space. But the bracing does it. So, which time we start? 2. So we can either, the only things I think we have left are basically base running and catching. Am I right on that? I know we've gone, I can go over pitching more detailed, but